Welcome back to another episode of a musician's podcast. Today I had the opportunity to interview Henrik Olsson, an incredible guy. I love his music. And actually, I didn't even know that I was listening to his music before I really checked out his Instagram page and really realized, oh, this is the guy. So you might know him from his tracks Teenage Lullaby, Maverick, Ganja, Calling Me, or Tay. He has a lot of great tracks. I would recommend you to check them out. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about how he got into music, how he got to the point where he made his living off of music, and also about his work with Epidemic Sounds, which is his label that he's cooperating with. And what's also very interesting about Hendrik is that he travels to certain places, takes his recorder with him, and then just records the sounds that he finds there and then makes tracks out of it, which is very unique. And I would say I've talked enough. Let's get into the interview.
Yeah. So my name is Henrik. I am from Sweden, live in Sweden, and work as a music producer. I make music mainly for myself and for my different artist projects, and also producing music for other artists and commercials and a lot of different occasions.
Ah, all right. Very interesting. This is a kind of a new approach that I'm going right now. If you looked at my channel, I have done a lot with film music as of right now,
Yeah.
but maybe you know it too, that film music has changed a lot over the past years, and especially Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and Arcane just changed film music forever. And I think because of that, your music might be in the next movie. Who knows? Because it just becomes so diverse and it could fit depending on the style of the movie. So that's why I'm so excited to have you as a guest today.
Yeah, thank you.
So, how old are you right now?
I'm 29 right now, but I'm turning 30 this year, so it's a special year. But
Uh,
yeah, I've been making music for how long is it? Um, like professionally, I've been doing it for about 8 years,
wow.
so pretty long time.
Yeah.
Hard
And
hard to admit for myself, but it's coming year after year. It's going.
how did you get into music? What inspired you to pick that path?
I think from the start, I was really into house music, and I think it was pretty early on in my career. I um, I started playing like drums and guitar and piano, but I think it wasn't really for me. So I played guitar for 1 year, piano for 1 year, and drums for like 2 years maybe. But like after each year, I was like, no, this is not for me. So I moved over to the next instrument, and then I found like house music basically after those like discoveries that I didn't want to play piano or play drums or so on, and I just wanted to be a DJ. Basically, I saw like Swedish House Mafia and Avicii and all of those guys, and I think those inspired me to start DJing, which I tried and did for like 2 or 3 years. And I think that in itself became a neutral step to like start creating my own music and like doing remixes and doing bootlegs and edits of tracks. So it became pretty natural to like start making music in a way.
Mm.
Yeah, from there I just discovered the production side of music instead of like more playing and so on. Yeah, from there it just sparked my joy for music.
All
But
right.
then also I didn't like DJing after like 3 years. So then it
So
became just music production. Which I'm very happy for today. So yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to ask before, so that DJing was also not a thing for you, and then you just moved on. And yes,
Yeah.
actually, so no more DJing now.
I think now I like DJing. I love it, but it's coming back. I find it more interesting nowadays than I probably did like 5 years ago.
Mhm.
But it's fun. Like I like it. I like to play records, but music production is still my thing.
Yeah. So, and it's like very, very different to DJ and to produce. A lot of DJs make their own tracks, like Sunday Scaries or John Summit. And
Yeah.
so you start out as a DJ and then you get into producing and have your own tracks that you can DJ. But yeah, it's so different actually to these two professions, totally different. Um, but cool that you found that producing is the thing for you. And how old were you when you started DJing and then switched to producing music?
I think I was around ooh, when I started like with the piano and everything and playing like the instruments. I think I was around like 10, 11 years old. And then I found the DJing side of it a little bit later. So around 14, 15 maybe. And then during my last years in school, I was I was heavy into DJing. So
Okay, I assume that you were a pretty cool guy in school because you DJ'd?
I wouldn't refer myself to a cool guy, but I would be happy to hear. I just did what I loved in a way, so I hope that was cool in itself.
Yeah. So from DJing at 15, so 2 or 3 years, so you were 18 when you started to produce and get away from DJing. So you said at 22 you did it professionally, music, right?
Yeah, around that year, because I was playing handball like pretty high up in like professionally in Sweden,
Mhm.
and then I was like, I shouldn't, I can't see myself in the future playing handball and making a living out of it in a way. So I tried like figure out what should I do with my life, basically, and I was like, I like music, so why not try and see what music can make. So I just looked around for some schools for universities and so on. And then I found a school for music basically, applied to it and then came in. And I think I was around so it was yeah, I was 18 and then until I was 21 I studied music.
So you have a
Pro-
bachelor's in
yeah,
music.
bachelor, yeah, exactly. Thank you. A
All
bachelor's
right.
degree in music. It was music production and what was it? Sound and music production, to be exact.
All right, that's so cool. How do you think how much it helped you get better at music and really find your own style or make it easier to work with the DAW? How much do you think did this study help you?
I think it helped me a lot. I think those 3 years were really good for me, mainly because of the people I met and like the people that studied as well. Because all of us were there for the same reason. Um, we all loved music in different ways, and it was inspiring to see like what kind of genres other people were like excited about and loved, and then you like mixed and matched and crossed path, and yeah, those 3 years I discovered a lot of new sounds and genres, and just different interesting ways of music, basically.
Awesome. Currently, I'm studying finance, so I will have a bachelor in that in 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And I'm already thinking maybe I should do a bachelor after that in music production because I just love it so much. But right now, I just don't have the time
Yeah,
to make a lot. And yeah, because I'm working and I'm studying, and it's a lot of effort that I have to put into this.
yeah. I can
And
imagine the economic being a little bit more study heavy than than music production, maybe.
yeah, yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. It's more reading books than maybe making music.
Luckily, I do not have to read books, but we have like lectures from 8:45 in the morning until 6 in the evening.
Oh, wow.
So kind of 10
I would
hour
I
day.
would be cooked if I were to have those kind of long informative days.
Yeah, and it's just so much information. We do get breaks, obviously, but it's
That's good.
just so much information and concentrated work, then a break and back to concentrated work. It's
Ah,
crazy.
yeah.
But I also I love it. I um I just dig finance. And so I think the duality of music and finance, I think that's what makes me unique.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited to follow that in the future.
Yeah. I think that's it's a good path because music is it's very economics related as well.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about music producers, you always you don't necessarily invest in stocks or whatever, but you invest in your production gear.
Yeah,
How,
100%.
right? How important do you think is the gear that you use for your music? Or do you think like, or the libraries, or do you say, okay, well, libraries come second, creativity is always first. But
Oh,
how much do you think
I
they're
think it's
important?
yeah, that's an important topic. I think both for me and in general. Nowadays, I feel like gear it matters a lot, but not in the sense of I need gear to make great music. It's more like I feel inspired when I get something new because I think like all of the software instruments I have in my computer and like just in my program is good enough to make anything basically. But it's like if you're doing that for 1 or 2 years, then you get tired of it, and especially me. So it's for me it's very important like someone now and then like get some new equipment, get some new gear, explore something else, because that in itself inspires me to make new sounds and come up with stuff that I wouldn't other come up with. Even because I could probably do it in the laptop or in the program, but
Yeah,
it's yeah, it's unique to have gear to like experiment with.
yeah. I already see the pianos in the background.
Yeah, these
Um,
ones.
what's are they called, or what gear do you have that you think is very important for your
Uh, I think my monitors, like the speakers, it's probably one of the most important things, and the room in itself, because I'm sitting in a pretty good, okay studio. But I think this synth that's behind me, it's the Moog Sub 37. It's a synth I really enjoy using, and I think sounds I don't know, really good. And it usually isn't too much work getting it into the track. Because I've have that trouble with some other synths. It's more like it's a fun piece, but it's hard to like get into the mix. But I think that one is just it just works.
and in terms of software, what are you working in?
I'm working mainly in Logic Pro, Logic Pro X, I think, yeah. And use a lot of their stock plugins and a lot of FabFilter plugins, which is very good.
Okay, someone who produces with a lot of stock plugins. That's interesting. Okay.
I love I have a lot of Slate and Ash, I think that they're called, for like software synths and sample libraries. I think those are really cool.
Do you work a lot with Serum or what's the other one called? Nexus?
Yeah, Serum is definitely a big. I'm a heavy user of Serum, of course, but not Nexus. I haven't owned Nexus. I haven't used it in like 5, 6 years, maybe.
Wow.
I think Nexus was one of those instruments or software instruments I used a lot during my younger days. Mainly to recreate the Avicii piano. It's like a classic Nexus patch.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Do you still have contact to some of the people you studied with after all this time?
Yeah, I think I have contact with a few of those people, and all of us are doing like different things music wise, which is pretty cool. Some people like work in the radio, some people work in the more movie industry side of music, and I work in music production. So a lot of different people end up in different places, which is pretty cool because the music industry is really really big and wide. You don't like when you think of music, it's like it's not just making music. You can like work with economics of music. You can work with A&Rs and radio and television and everything. So it's pretty broad.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. What made you decide I'm going to produce music full time as a job?
Ooh, yeah, that was I can't remember exactly, but it was I think I in Sweden you get like a student loan when you study, and then I think I got like 1,000 euros each month from it to like live off, which is basically a loan as well, so you have to repay it later on. But I think I managed somehow to make I think it was like 1,100 euros each month after the study when I studied from music, which was just insane. I was like, this is perfect. I can live of it now. Because if I can live on the student loans, I can live on like 100 euros more each month. So as long as I made money, I was like, I'm gonna continue trying and doing this. So yeah, somehow I I made it past that.
Do you remember or what kind of jobs you did to earn that money? And in all these years, did it change how you make money with music?
Yeah, I think from the start I worked with like production companies and like sold commercial music and like tracks in general. So
Mhm.
like I produced tracks and then sold them to companies and yeah, that paid the bills. And then I released a lot of music on like Spotify and so on. And worked with Epidemic Sound as well. And that in itself grew, and yeah, the music on Spotify grew as well. People started listening, so yeah, I think it's from just rise from that. So
Yeah,
uh,
I think everyone who has watched vlogs up to this point or is interested in any kind of those videos, I think everyone has heard your music somewhere, sometime already, because it's I think it's just. The perfect music for cinematic shots or, if someone's going through the landscape with their van and following with the drone and filming this whole thing, it's like the perfect music for it, and it's so unique what you create. So
Yeah,
I
thank you
think
so
that's
much.
so awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that's in my head. It's a big vision that I have when I make music. It's like I'm watching YouTube videos of travel, people traveling and stuff, and I feel like that is a big inspiration for me as well. Like I would love to make a track that could fit into this scenario and so on. And it's usually a drone following a car in a cinematic or very cool landscape. So I'm
Yeah,
happy you say that.
that's so funny. So you hit that vision perfectly.
Thank you.
What is kind of your goal with making music when it comes to like the next 5 to 10 years? Where do you want to be in terms of the music industry in 10 years?
Yeah, that's a good question. I actually doesn't have any like long-term goals, like music-wise. I feel more like I wanna live in the moment, you know. But of course, like a few years ahead, I would love to like still make really good and even cooler music. I think with my music, I always tend to like try and be a big inspiration for others and like with my music inspire others to do what they love and hopefully they find a passion of their own with my music. Yeah, I hope to inspire others with my music and hopefully people like it.
That's amazing. Yeah. And a lot of people do like it. So if you just look on YouTube and Spotify, your tracks get millions of views, millions of listens. So that's, I think it's amazing. And then also, I hope we can talk about epidemic sounds.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, great. Um, when did you start working with the label?
I started working with them almost directly after I graduated. So I think they've been so helpful to me. It's a great. I have only good things to say about them, and yeah, we've been working together closely since I graduated.
That's that's a very long partnership
Yeah,
then.
it is.
So
It's,
basically, they helped you reach the level that you're on right now, or the level of publicity, fame, if you can say that.
yeah,
Like,
I think I'm super grateful for Epidemic because I think without them I wouldn't have spread my music as much as
yeah,
I've done. It's like 95% thanks to them, I would
yeah,
say.
yeah. So, I already told you I've never talked with anyone who has a label in the background. What kind of work are they doing for you? What's something that they have the expertise in and help you with regarding your music?
It's a lot of possibilities with Epidemic because I think there's a lot of people using Epidemic, for example, and the copyrighted side of music is quite a jungle. And I
Mm,
think Epidemic helps out really good in that situation. And as I said, there's a lot of people using Epidemic, and having my music on the Epidemic website is really helpful to
yeah.
like spread the music.
All right. And do you have a personal, how do you say it, manager or any
Yeah,
that
I have a like A&R that I'm in contact with from Epidemic,
Mhm.
and yeah, a lot of other people as well from Epidemic.
So what does it take to get a track released on the Epidemic Sounds?
If it's a good track, I think they'll release it.
Okay, so if I have a good track, I just write them an email and present the track and they say maybe yes, maybe
Yeah,
no.
hopefully, yeah.
Okay, that's so interesting. Label work, totally different thing. but so important to
Yeah.
really spread your word and spread your music, more importantly. Can we look into some of your projects in your DAW? Is that possible?
I don't have the computer with me, sadly, at the moment.
Okay, then maybe we go for round two
Yeah.
sometime else and
Yeah.
look into your projects. Okay.
Commercial music for commercials, because I've done a lot. Like that's outside of Epidemic as well.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So they don't manage that.
No. Like I'm. That's the thing with Epidemic, because I'm signed in a way. I work with them, but I'm also like free to do whatever I want to.
Mhm.
If I want to like produce Drake's new album, I'm free to do that. That's I would be very happy to do that, but or who other artists. So you can basically do whatever you like, and then have Epidemic as well.
So theoretically, you could release a lot of music on your own terms,
Yeah,
however you want, wherever you want, with whomever you want. But if you have something that you want to release over Epidemic Sounds, you just tell them that you want to work with them on this one track, and
yeah,
then you have a partnership in that sense.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, I guess that gives you a lot of freedom, especially for cooperation, right?
Yeah,
Do
yeah. I think it's a lot of freedom, because you like I've done a lot of like commercial music, or music for commercials. Um, so I'm like, it's good to know that I'm free to do like whatever I feel like, and if someone approaches me, I'm always down to do something cool.
Amazing. I've actually not seen too many corporations with you that you have music done with other artists. Did I just not find it, or is it something that doesn't happen too often?
I think it's quite hard to to find as well. Because mainly I I'm just a producer and produce music then for other people,
Mhm.
which they then put the name over in a way.
Okay, so you're just in the background, then
Yeah, exactly.
they claim the music, you worked into it too, but it's their name.
Yeah, I think you can probably find me in the credits, but but yeah, it's like I'm producing music for their artist name, or their like artist project, which
Mhm.
is like really common in the music industry. If you're like me,
Yeah.
just a producer.
Also, like it's very similar to basically ghostwriting, but for the music.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a different style of music that the person you're working with wants to have, and it's not your unique style for very nature driven and
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to make music for that would fit into their style. Uh, and of course, I there's probably some elements that reminds of my own music, but I'm always trying to like make the other artists I'm working with happy,
yeah.
and like match the vibe of what they've done before, music wise, in the production.
Mhm.
And it's the same for like commercials as well, because you have to like know the brand and what have been their motto before and what's their motto now, what they want to present. Is it like a soft feeling? Is it a more aggressive feeling to marketing? Or it's a lot of those kind of interesting words and explanations, and
So
then you
you
have to like produce music that would fit that scenario.
yeah. And how do you get to make music for ads or other occasions? Are companies or people usually reaching out to you? Do you reach out to them? Do you have an agent, or how does this whole thing work?
It have happened that they have contacted me, but I think most of the works have been through an agent, which I personally know, which is amazing.
Hmm.
And then that agent have been like, "Hey, I have this company who wants to do this. Can you try and make something for that?" And I was like, "Yeah, 100%." And then I try and make a first draft, and hopefully they like it, which I think have happened. Like, I think you hit it like 50% of the times. So
Hmm. How often does it happen that you get the opportunity to make music for an advertisement?
it depends. Now I haven't done it like this year, but last year I did a few, and then the year before I did a few as well. So it's not like on a weekly basis, but it's like I do a few each year.
Hmm. I thought you recently did one because you shared one in your story, and I
Yeah, that
thought that
was
was.
yeah, that was it's because a lot of my music that I make is with Epidemic and is available on the Epidemic website. There's a lot of companies that use Epidemic as well.
So they
So then
get their
it's
license
not
of.
like it's not like tailored music to that specific brand, but if that brand likes my music, then they can find existing tracks and use it in their commercial. But
Mm,
I've the thing I've been referring to is more like tailored music, like a company reaching out and then we create something unique.
yeah.
Um,
Okay. Yeah. So I'd be interested to hear how different that sounds from the music that you usually do. Um, but I
yeah,
guess.
I sometimes it's easier, and sometimes it's harder as well. But sometimes it's easier to make music out of briefs and more like restricted kind of briefs, because a lot of the commercials is like, as I said, uh, the brand, they have like clear vision of the branding, like is it's gonna be this feeling with this kind of mood or so on, and then they have like usually set up a reference playlist on Spotify, which they want like produce something that have this kind of energy and the feeling of this, and then then you have to be creative and try and nail that feeling. I like the term of like working with feelings. That's like music
Yeah,
is feelings basically. So
so true.
yeah,
And especially in film, we use music to induce certain emotions.
yeah,
So it's so deeply woven into our emotions. So
yeah,
that's amazing. If you have these reference tracks, you know, okay, this kind of feeling is wanted for this commercial. When you listen through them, are you like, oh, I like that chord progression, or oh, I like that sound. Maybe I can make recreate it on my synthesizer and work from that? Or how do you get your inspiration to then start and build something off of that?
yeah. Usually I try and find like the sounds. It's more about the sounds than about like the chords and stuff, and like the melody of it in a way. But sound design itself is, I think, it's the most important element combined with like rhythm. So yeah, finding a good sound to start with is for me the most important when like starting on a track.
Hmm. And I saw in calling me, as
Yeah,
far as I know, you where did you go there?
we went to Lofoten. It was like in northern Norway. And then I collected a lot of sounds.
Yeah,
um,
it's so interesting how you just take it, and out of the audio you can make something that's totally different and interesting and unique because you got the sound, and there's nothing like this out there in the internet. There's no
yeah,
one who has made it because you're the one who captured it.
yeah,
And so that's so incredible to really it's like making a spaghetti yourself instead of buying from the supermarket and then cooking with pre-made spaghetti. It's like you're doing it from step one.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's yeah, it's a special feeling when I do that. Like when you create something from like bare minimum.
Yeah.
Um, even
Also,
though I'm usually not doing that, but it's in some occasions I try to like push myself and do that as well, which is it takes a lot of time, which is the
yeah,
downside of it, because you like really have to dive into like sound design and like really get the most out of every sound. And it takes a lot of time, but it's really fun and it's a good process to like learn as well. Like get really good at making music and shaping sounds and so on. So
yeah.
yeah,
Shaping sounds
yeah,
is just so important because if you can shape the sound, you can make whatever you have in mind. Of course, if you have the skill set, you can make what you have in mind.
yeah,
But if you cannot shape a sound, then you have to take the sounds that already exist and work with that.
yeah.
So sound design is a major part of making music. Do you think that in your studies, that was also something that your studies helped you with, create new sounds and how to modulate them and everything that is related to that? Do you think the studies helped in that sense?
Yes and no. I think what I studied or when I studied that time helped me the most was to give me time basically to like do what I wanted to focus on,
Hmm.
which was like producing music, and as you said, like shaping music, shaping sounds, and playing around with sounds. Even though like all I did back then was like sounded like probably 80% shit and 20% maybe okay. Hopefully it's become a little bit better nowadays, but it's a lot of like trial and error. Just trying, basically. Like don't be afraid of sounds not sounding as good as you want them to.
Yeah. Do you think that sometimes a sound can sound very shitty before you change something that makes it sound good? Like that you're in the process of creating a sound that it's you have the original, you change it up, and it sounds completely horrible. And then in the last bit you change something and then it sounds good again. Does it have happen? Or is it like when you know it sounds trash that you just don't even bother continuing on the sound?
Yeah, it has to. I feel like it has to have some kind of sound at the start. 'Cause it's if it sounds shit from the start, it's probably gonna sound shit in the end as well. But as long as it's like it has some kind of potential, then it's like always worth it to like try and shape it into something better or new in a way. A rule I usually live by is like if it sounds bad from the start, it's most likely gonna sound
Yeah.
bad in the end as
It,
well.
yeah.
But then it's interesting with sounds as well because I think a lot of the time a sound can sound pretty weird and terrible on its own, but together with other sounds or like in a mix, it could sound just right. It could
Yeah.
fit. I think one of the professors said once the one button that's overrated is the solo function because like it doesn't matter if a sound sounds shitty in itself or on by itself as long as it works together with all of the other sounds then it's good. So yeah, if you have a sound and like put it in perspective, that's it could change a lot.
Yeah. I think when I interviewed Blair Borland, I think he had something in his track that on its own it just sounded horrible, and I was so perplexed as to why that is in the track, because we listened to the single stems,
Yeah.
and then he got the rest of the track in it too. So we listened to it in perspective, and it just completely drowned kind of in the sound, but it added something. It was still there, like a little bit, and it made such a harmony out of the whole thing, because that was the things that were too harsh or too unpleasant for the ear just drowned in the rest of the sound.
Yeah.
But the little part of it, the frequencies that added something, they came through and made the whole thing very pleasant. But I don't remember what track it was, or but it's a good opportunity for everyone who's watching to check out Blair Boland's interview,
Yeah.
because I really enjoyed that. Yeah. So, okay, so that's amazing. Do you think maybe you will make music for a movie in the future too?
Yeah, I would love to make music to like a movie or like more commercials in a way. I think that's one of my dreams is to like soundtrack yeah, a movie or like a short film or something like that.
A short film. So maybe also collaborations with YouTubers that make short films, or
Yeah, I would love to do that because I think it's such a different way of making music if you make music to a specific film, or because you have so much more time to work with and so much more emotions,
Mm,
which is hard as well because then you have to like really nail that specific emotion or moment, but it's also more freedom to like work with. You have so much more to fill out in a way. Because a track is usually like 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes.
mm,
Um, and then you have this kind of, okay, now it's going to be this part, now it's going to be the chorus part, and now it's going to be that and that. It's a lot of, I wouldn't say rules, but it's a lot of like arrangement structure. Even though I don't follow it all the time, but in a movie, it's like you don't have those kind of rules in a way. You have like the only rule you have is like follow the emotion of the video. Um, so would be fun to try and create something for that.
yeah. You are very liberal with what you do.
Yeah,
In your music right now, it's very structured, and you just you have the introduction basically, then the build up, if you can say it. Your music is
yeah,
very relaxed, so it's not
yeah. Thank
very
you.
high, and then the chorus, and then you repeat it, right? But
Yeah,
in the film music, it's different. Yes, that's very true. Do you network with people? Like, I don't mean networking in the sense of I'm just talking to you because I hope that someday I'll get something out of it. But like, for me, networking is being interested in the other person, getting to know them, how maybe I can help them. So do you network with other musicians and talk with them, and maybe see how you can add something to their mission with your music, so that maybe at some point you could also get to the point that you make music for a film, for a short film or a
yeah,
movie?
yeah. 100%. I think a good example of that is like I'm sitting now in the studio, and this complex houses. I think it's like 5 or 6 more studios, and we are like a really cool group of people that's working in all of these studios now. Because I have my own, and then there's another guy sitting next to me who's sitting in his own studio, and so on. And I think we all like during the lunch times and everything, like just help each other out so much, which is very inspiring. because we like share new plugins and new like techniques someone learned and so on. And then they were like, "Oh, I have this sound. What should I do with this?" And then another guy comes in and helps, or I come in and help, and so on. So I think it's really important for me, and I think for everyone, to like surround yourself with like-minded people in a way to fulfill the dream we all have in a way.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. So it's kind of like a music producer house. Is it a commercial building, like you're just here for work, everyone has their workspace in the building, or
Yeah,
no?
it's like all of us are like freelancing in a way. None of us are, I think two of the people are signed to one label and two of the people are signed to another label, and we're just here to like work basically. But it's hard with music because you usually don't like see it as work in a way. It's more like it's a really fun work. And it's very easy to work a little bit too much.
Mm,
I usually see it as I go to work,
yeah,
which is good in a way. But I'm working from home as well a lot, so
yeah. I mean,
it's
music production makes it so available everywhere on the world. You can take your laptop and produce on your laptop. It would suck because you have with the mouse pad, it's very uncomfortable, but
I actually
you
prefer the
can.
mouse pad though. So yeah, I do. I'm
Okay,
one of those people.
okay, I take it back. I just
Nah,
don't
it's
like it.
I've actually never met anyone who's like a big fan of that mouse pad, but I am. I don't know why, but I tend to like. I don't know. I just like it.
If that helps your workflow, that's perfect.
Yeah.
But with that, you just need headphones, and then you can basically produce anywhere in the
Yeah.
world, wherever you are. So that's just a
Yeah.
big advantage of being a music producer.
100%. It's such an inspiring time to work with music as well, because I think we've never had this opportunity in music that we have today to like be inspired by different places and like travel that much and make music on the fly and on the go. It's like imagine doing this like 20 years ago. It would be impossible to like bring a big chunky computer with like I don't know like the big
Yes.
console desk and so on to like just record something. Now it's like you can just pack your laptop and yeah, fly out or travel to anywhere, like
Yeah,
be inspired by that place and make music. So yeah,
so true and so cool. Do
yeah,
you travel a lot, especially for music, and collect your sounds and make music as you change locations? Or are you based in Sweden? You're staying a lot in Sweden, not traveling too much. What would you say? Are you a big traveler?
I would say I definitely like traveling. I don't know if I'm a big traveler. I don't know. Maybe not. But I definitely like traveling, mainly to like experience other cultures and see new things. And I think that's healthy in a way for me to like broaden my horizons. Even though I love Sweden so many ways, but it's also fun and really good for myself to like see the rest of the world and like be inspired because it's so different a lot of the times
Yeah,
in a good way.
yes. You seem to me like a person that's is a winter person. Like
Yeah.
you prefer the cold, so you probably aren't in very hot areas too much. If I could, can I
Well,
assume that?
I have actually been to hot areas as well, but yeah, I'm definitely more. I don't know. It's hard because I love the snow and the cold areas. I think it brings out something unique in me, and I don't know why, but I think it's the harshness in a way
Hmm.
of those places, especially during the winter time, which is I don't know. It's something unique.
Yeah, the winter is
And
very unforgiving.
yeah, 100%.
Okay, I love that. Do you ski or snowboard? I would say you snowboard.
No, I'm a skier. I am a
Oh,
skier.
okay, okay, outed in front of me. Sorry.
Are you a skier or a snowboarder?
I started out on skis because my father wanted me to learn skiing before snowboarding. So
Okay.
I think I started at 5,
Oh wow.
and then at some point I just thought the snowboard looks cooler and I want to do that too. So I think when I was 12, I think, or something like that, I started to snowboard, and I think it's just amazing to you can do cool tricks with it, and it's basically a bit like skateboarding. I don't
Yeah.
skateboard, but I wakeboard
Oh wow.
sometimes here and there. So it's very similar, the motion similar, and I like the unity of the legs. Basically, you are one unit on the board that's moving through the mountains. And
Yeah.
on the skiers, you could just have your leg up here and the other leg
Yeah.
is on the other side. And it's just, um, I think it's more demanding to ski because you have to coordinate both of your legs at the same time and in the same way.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm just lazy for snowboarding, but I
No.
prefer it, and I think it's just so cool. I love to do it, even though I don't do it often. I was
Yeah.
like a few weeks ago, I went snowboarding, and before that, there was like 4 years or 3 years of nothing.
Oh wow.
So that's a little bit sad, but um, I'll have enough opportunities to go snowboarding in the future.
Yeah. You'll have to.
Maybe someday in Sweden. Do you
Yeah.
have good snowboarding mountains in
Yeah,
Sweden?
I
Or
would say we have the downside of of like winter sports in Sweden is usually it's so damn cold. And also like the seasons are pretty short because the sun is because you usually want to go up as far north as you can. But the problem is that the sun it's like the sun doesn't rise during the winters
Mm,
up there, so it's like the season usually starts in like late February.
mhm.
And then you can ski now basically in the northern parts. But it's yeah, it's usually very cold.
Yeah,
But it's
gotta take the pain for the fun.
yeah, it's very like raw, but it's usually it's good snow, but
Back to making music. It's a question that you don't have to answer. What I'm interested in is with your occupation, with labels, YouTube channel, making music for others and commercials, how much money do you make?
I'm not gonna say any numbers, but I would say it's hard to like give an estimate because it's 1 month it's completely different from another, and it's very reliant on like the streams and streaming and what kind of music you make for what kind of customer and so on.
Mhm.
But I would say like nowadays I make like a normal salary in Sweden. Yeah.
All right,
If you
that's
like spread it out during the year. So I'm very blessed by that. Like make music and earn like a decent amount of money on it.
mhm. Yeah,
But it's also like really uncertain, like future wise, because like I don't know what would happen in like a few months forward.
yeah,
So it's very like it's hard in that sense, but it's also like I'm happy as long as I can make music and make a living out of it. I'm super happy.
yeah. I see that a lot of producers are make a good living,
Yeah,
but it's always the factor of uncertainty, whether I
yeah,
get a gig next month or make enough streams. It is something that's unique to the music industry, or in this case, I'm totally invested in this to find out more and maybe find solutions how you can create financial stability for musicians.
Yeah.
So that's definitely that something that I dig. Um, and how do you handle your finance? If you get money, how do you decide what to do with it?
I usually try and save as much as possible, but I also like to save in like equipment, like see that as an not like an great investment, but like an okay investment.
Hmm.
It's like you will probably get your money back, but then don't know if it's gonna be like as good as putting it in like a stock or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's also like it's fun to do that because you get like new gear. But yeah, I try and save like privately as well. Yeah, and invest in like gear and stuff. So
Do
it's like
you also invest in stocks, funds, bonds, or do you have a financial advisor? I'm not familiar how it's going in Sweden, or how do you
like
do
you.
that?
No, I personally like try and invest my money with something that resonates with me. You can have like financial advisors. I think it's not super common, but it's common in a way. Depends on like how much money you make. But I try and invest my money on my own. Um,
Mhm. Do you
and
think that is kind of getting in the way of your creativity, or because it takes time? If I'm thinking how much time we spend in the work to
yeah,
decide which funds we take for our clients where we put money in, that takes such a long time to really find something that's suits the situation right now the
yeah.
best. Do you think so that managing that gets in the way of making music, or do you think there's a good
I think
balance that you reach?
yeah. I think for me, I usually don't like invest and I usually don't invest in stocks that much. It's more like funds,
Yeah.
which is for me a more like long-term investment. Because I know like if I put in this money, I see it more as I'm not gonna touch that until I want to maybe buy an apartment or buy like a car or something like a bigger investment. So it doesn't take too much time for me. I think it's more like I have chosen a few funds and then stick with those as
Yeah.
long as they look okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, nowadays it's hard to determine what looks good or bad, but
Yeah,
since stocks are
especially
like yeah,
in
stocks
these
are
times it's going
doing its
crazy.
yeah
But it's actually a great advantage if you, no financial advice, if
yeah
you invest every month, you get the cost average effect. So
yeah
um, that's amazing for investors.
yeah
Buy cheap, and it will go up eventually, no financial advice. And someday, if you need the money, of course, that's it's a great investment. So
yeah
I think the way you do it is a good way to, if you don't, if you aren't in the material too much, there are a lot of good funds, and then you choose one and stick with it. And if you have the discipline to do so and not go in with emotion, if you have the price, if it's plummeting, if you don't
yeah
panic sell then and just
yeah
stick to your strategy, then you're doing a great job. So
yeah yeah. I'm trying trying to do. As you said, it's like I'm turning 30 now, and I think something that I've realized later on in my life is the value of earning money over time and like putting it aside.
mhm.
Even though it's like if it whatever it could be, it's like it's if you do it for a long period of time, it grows and stacks up pretty well. Yeah, I'm trying to save each month a good amount and put away. So
are you only responsible for yourself, or do you have a partner that you share costs with or live with, or
And I'm only responsible for myself in like what I save, and then I have a partner who we like share groceries and like those kinds of like apartment and so on.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, so that because it also makes a lot of
Yeah,
difference.
it's definitely cheaper to be two than to be one.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Okay, so in terms of time, I would say we're done now.
Yeah,
But I'd love to really go through your projects another time, if that's okay with you. If you have time someday and your laptop, of course,
yeah,
then I'd love to look into some of the things that you do, like um, Teenage Lullaby and Ganja.
yeah, ganja. Yeah,
Ganja. I love the tracks and also Calling Me so amazing. Um,
yeah. Thank
I'll
you.
I'll look into the epidemic license. So maybe we could do that next time if you're open.
Yeah, of
That would be
course.
amazing. All right, then I'd say part one is
Yeah,
done. And I thank you so much for your time and for your expertise and to get to know your story better.
yeah. Thank
And
you.
so yeah, I'd say see you next time.
Yeah,
And I
you
hope you
too.
have a great day.
Yeah, thank you. You too.